So the last time I was driving the car, there was a clunk. The brake pedal fell, well, dropped maybe a half inch or so. And then the left front didn't release. And I was about a mile from the house, so I just kept driving. I knew I wanted to upgrade, so I bought the Speedway Cyber Monday kit. It was $289 for disc brakes. 11-inch rotor with the later G-body calipers. Gives you a little more room. These wheels are really old, so I don't know if they clear. This is going to be a step-by-step. I unboxed. I don't know if you can see out there. Whatever. I cleaned the calipers up and painted them with a paint called Cast Blast, which just looks like cast iron. They're pretty cool. So, step one. Plus, I never looked at the instructions. I'm just going to go for it. Remove the wheel. Step two. Remove this dust cap. Oh, easy. Another side note, see those big rivets? These came riveted to the hub from the factory, and I think these are the original drums. Then we are going to remove that cotter pin. Look right there. Wait, I'll show you. I like to bend them back. Grab a hold of it. I packed these wheel bearings not too long ago. This car's always pulled really hard to the right. Rip that guy out. This should never be very tight. I'm going to remove that and pull the drum off. Forgot to mention, these still have, I don't know if they're factory original, but ball bearings. One on the inside too. Ooh, hey, it's gonna get the upgrade to tapered. Focus. I'll put these right here. I do not see what was causing the brake issue. I don't know. Well, when it would clunk and this side would stick, it would free up after a little bit, and then the car would brake normally, and then it would go back to pulling super hard to the right. Like so much that if you had to panic stop or a deer ran out in front of you, you're probably going to crash the car before you hit it. So the disc brakes are going to help. I have the tools for this because I worked on cars when drum brakes were a thing. So pop these springs off. One, two, this little tab. Let's see here. Now I can get this bolt off. I have a 3/8 line wrench. See, it goes most of the way around the nut, and a 5/8 wrench up there. Let's see what I can do here. So the big wrench is to hold it. I'm gonna have to do this two-handed. It broke free. So lucky. Move it around a little bit. Just barely snug it back up. Now it's loose for when we go to drop the whole thing. Oops. See, there's a little safety tab there. Right here. Oops, dropped my light. I'm gonna have to bend that out of the way. It's like a washer. I used a punch and my magic hammer. I put the punch underneath and pried the piece up using the hammer. Just kind of pounded the punch at an angle. And now we should be good to go. Now we're gonna hopefully take this off. A lot of these are seized, but this car spent most of its life indoors. Wish me luck. Take these bolts out, 5/8. Ooh, one's a little stuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to soak these in penetrating oil, and not on camera. Because I don't really know these cars, this is my first one and I didn't read the instructions or anything. These have nuts on the back, and the steering arm also has cotter pins. So it's not rusted. I'm not going to video this, but I'm going to pull those cotter pins out and take this all apart and get the backing plate off. And I just left the brakes on. Why take them off? 13mm bolt, or 1/2-inch bolts, 1/2-inch nuts on the other side with a lock washer on each, 5/8 bolts with a cotter pin and a nut on the other side. Where'd you go? Right there. Since I'm not reusing any of this, I'm just gonna let it hang there out of my way, because the inner bearing race is still stuck on there and I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet. Heated it up with my little blazer torch. Grabbed it with my pliers. Got it to move. Put my chisel in there. And it's coming off easy. Cleaned everything up. Let's do some test fitting. Like really clean. I don't want any crap from this getting into my new bearings. Got a little burr right there maybe? I don't know. I don't feel anything. Let's try it. These are nice. Gonna bolt up like in here. I think we're gonna have to use the spacer, but I'll get it mocked up. Okay, I didn't go get the instructions, but I am going to. I want to know all the torque specs and everything. But this actually goes on the back side, which moves your steering arm that way. Set a little spacer on one side. So that tows the car in a considerable amount. Can't really see it on camera. That's looking directly at it, and how much of the angle is how towed in it's going to be. So I'm going to have to set the tow. Where's my light? I don't have a ton of room. Oh, I think it'll be all right. I'll go ahead and spray all that down so it can soak. But there you have it. I'm going to mock the bearing, or put the rotors on and mock the rest of it up. These come with the races installed, which is nice. Looks and feels like they're in all the way. And short studs. Maybe the same length as stock. I'll put longer studs in eventually. But I'm just going to put the bearings in there dry, no seal. Stick it on there and see what we got. All the part numbers are here. But they're also on the website. They don't keep it a secret. But it's still cheaper to buy the kit than to piece this all together. I'm gonna put this on. That's the inner bearing. Also gonna check to see how it fits on the spindle to make sure it's correct. It's a little snug. Feels about perfect to me. Maybe I'll hit that with some emery, maybe not, I don't know. This is more like it. Nice snug fit. Is it all the way? I need to go a little further. No. I don't know, it's close. But it'll come off. It did when I wasn't filming. There we go. So somebody took, see these marks? Took a punch and peened it. Oh, there's one, I missed that one. So that the race would stick in there. And you want it nice and snug, but you don't want it to stick. So I have a little jeweler's file. Just file the little highs off from those punch marks. You don't want to take off a lot of material. brake cleaner. Well ventilated. I don't like reading this stuff. Same thing with the inner. Let's see how it fits in the rotor. All right. I put the bracket on backwards. Should have just read the instructions. But that's okay. I'll just swap it out. So, grease this bearing. Gotta make sure you get grease all in here. If you don't know how to pack wheel bearings, I'm sure there's videos of it. But you grease this one up really good, put a little on the race in there, drop it in, grab your seal, make sure it fits. It's nice. Fits good. It'll fit on there. So this will all have grease in it. Take a block of wood, I've got an installer, and you pound that into place until it's flush. This side out, this side goes in. Then you rub a little grease around the lip. Slide your rotor on, grease this bearing. Put it over the spindle, all the way in. It'll kind of stay there, but it can fall off, so be careful. Washer, nut, that's the castle nut. So it looks like a castle. Doesn't matter which way the washer goes, but one edge is kind of sharper. I always put that to the inside, like it's gonna hold the grease in there better or something. And then you put this on, hand tight, even when it's greased. Here. You can use some pliers. There's like a little bit of resistance there. If I had grease all over everything, it probably would have been just fine. Oh, so it's tight. You don't want to go any tighter than that. Nothing's hitting. You have clearance everywhere. So with the grease in there, you want to make this just kind of snug. Spin it. And then back it off a little bit, because you want a little play in there. That might not be enough. We'll do a little more. Back it off till you can line the cotter pin up, which is right there. See the hole down in there? Barely, but that's good. So you want it a little loose, because as it heats up, all that stuff's going to expand. So if you have this snug and then maybe a little tighter to put the pin in, it's going to burn the bearings up right away. There's different, everybody has their own way. You know, if you have it too loose, the rotor will kind of move around and push the pads away sometimes. And then when you hit the brake pedal, it's going to be low on the first pump. But just barely snug. Back it off. You can probably go further, I don't know. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I'll check at some point when it's hot. With the tire on, you'll feel it wiggling back and forth. Is that enough? I don't know, you get the gist. Just back it off some. There's another hole over here if you want a little more. See that guy? It's right there. Okay. You will put your brake pads in the caliper, just like a Malibu G-body. And slide them over. And the pins go through. So you'll grease these up with a special caliper grease. Pins go in through here. And then it threads into here. And the caliper essentially just kind of floats there. Need both hands. You have to make sure when you're putting these in, so these little rubber bushings don't pop out like this one. Because that's what holds it all into place and keeps it from rattling. They're good down there. Also, the brake bleeder goes up always on everything. To clarify, this is incorrect. That needs to be down inside there, like this one. You can't even see it. When it's in correctly, just slide back and forth pretty easy. That way the caliper floats and doesn't wear one brake pad down or whatever. Just how it's supposed to be. What I use to lube that with, synthetic brake caliper grease. You can probably get a little packet of it at the auto parts store. There's probably one in here, who knows. But, okay. This is a 14-inch wheel. It fits, no problemo. It's nice, I was worried about that. It goes this way. See, this side is recessed in. That couldn't seal against the caliper. I got a washer on each side there. I've already inspected the caliper and the mounting surface looks good. I'm going to install this. This is the brake hose. Like that. I don't have it tight because I need to see where it's going to be. I've turned the steering wheel lock to lock, making sure the brake line doesn't rub on anything. You know, and I held it up in place where it's going to be. Oh, horrible. Looks pretty good this way. Nothing to hit. Same thing over here. I left the socket in there so I wouldn't put it in the way of that either, but I think we're good to go. I'm going to hook it up now. There's a clip like this that holds that brake line to the bracket. I just use a pair of pliers in theory. Grab this guy. And try and wiggle it off of there. Might need two hands. It's awkward. Okay. I stuck my pliers between this lip and the brake line. And just opened them up and it shot right off. 55 Chevy. Now what I'm gonna do is take that brake line off and put this one on with hopefully not losing a ton of brake fluid. Wish me luck. See, these have like a little hex on them. See how there's flat spots on there? That's to keep it from rotating. Well, the caliper bracket didn't have that, so I had to file some in there. And it comes with brackets. They're over there. But I just want to use the stock ones. They're fine. Everything's in there. I like to gravity bleed, so I've got my bleeder open. I've got my master cylinder open with the autofill on there. Nothing's happening yet, but I'll gravity bleed as I go. And then I will take the whole thing apart, read the instructions, get everything torqued or Loctited or whatever needs to be done. Grease the wheel bearings, put the brake pads in, clean all the shipping oil or whatever off the rotors. Put the caps on, ready to go. This video was a lot longer than I expected, sorry. No grease in there, so it'll go forever. It's very mysterious. See you later. See the brake fluid? It's hard to tell. It's moving real Real slow, but it's there. So at least I've got all the air out of the lines. When I get it together, I can try doing a regular brake bleeding. Plus I've got a vacuum bleeder too. I'll probably use that. I guess I could have used that now, but this is fine. I got nothing else going on. Okay, now I'm really going. Goodbye.